Hi, my name is James Baird. I'm the director of P24 Ministries. If you're watching this video, it's because I reached out to you. And I reached out to you because I want to see if you would be interested with partnering with me financially to get me as a full-time missionary here in Arizona, the Phoenix metro area, primarily to the abortion clinics saving babies' lives. So P24 Men is the name of my ministry. It is a division of Innovative Ministries International. And like I said, what we do is we save babies. We delivering those being taken away to death. That's my motto for this ministry, delivering those being taken away to death. And P24 actually stands for Proverbs 24, and specifically Proverbs 24:11 through 12, which you can see on the screen right here. Deliver those who are being taken away to death, and those who are staggering to slaughter, oh, hold them back. If you say, see, we did not know this, does he not consider it who weighs the hearts? Does he not know it who keeps your soul? And will he not render to man according to his work? So God commands us to be about the business of delivering those who are being taken away to death and holding back those who are staggering to the slaughter. Now, my assumption in this video is that we are in agreement that abortion is murder, and the reason it's murder is because these babies from conception are human beings created in God's image, which makes them our neighbor. So that is my assumption. If that is something you have questions on, or if you wonder if I have biblical reasoning for this or anything like that, then please reach out to me. You have my phone number as part of this email. You have, of course, my email address, and I would be glad to answer any questions that you might have about why I call abortion murder. But for the sake of brevity, I'm not going to go into that right now, and I'm going to assume that we are on the same page as far as that goes. So in Arizona, there is, on average, 13,000 abortions a year. I believe off the top of my head, I believe the last time that number was under 13,000 was somewhere around 2011, 2012. So on average, we have about 13,000 abortions in Arizona a year. And as I said, abortion is murder, equals murder. So we have 13,000 murders on average a year here in Arizona. These murder babies are our neighbors. As I said, they are created in God's image, which makes them our neighbors. And I wanted to put these up because I just wanted to show, again, I want to emphasize from conception, we are human beings. That is when God creates that unique DNA, is at conception, that unique DNA, our unique DNA came into existence at conception. That's when every single baby's unique person's unique DNA comes into existence, is at conception. But also very early on, these babies start developing their own heartbeats, their own arms and legs. So I just wanted you to see a couple examples. This is a 7-week-old baby right here, and unfortunately, this was a baby that was killed as a result of the pill. So you can see that at 7 weeks we have this little baby, this little precious child created in God's image, had his own arms and legs. You can even see the fingers starting to form. That baby would have had his or her own heartbeat as well. And then I know this is hard to see too, but this is the reality of abortion, right here on the picture on the left. The reality of abortion is that babies are murdered, and the murder is gruesome. You have arms and legs and heads and torsos torn apart in abortion. And that's just the reality. I hate it. I don't like talking about it, but it is the reality of the situation. This is what's happening. So I'm not going to play it right now, but this is a video. I had a video right here from Choice for Two down there on the bottom, which is a video it's an animated video, and it's based off of a true story account of someone who was doing an ultrasound for an abortion. They didn't realize that's what was going to be happening. They were just called into the operation room to provide ultrasound guidance so that the doctor didn't perforate the uterus during the abortion procedure. and he describes what he witnessed in that process. And Choice for Two did a video off of that testimony called "The Procedure." And you can, of course, I encourage you to watch the Choice for Two video. Go look it up. It's called "The Procedure." You can watch that. You can also, there are countless accounts on the internet that you can look at of abortionists who describe the procedure for abortions, and it's hard to hear, but we have to hear it because this is what's happening to our neighbors. So the clinics are the last line of defense for these babies. This is the last opportunity that someone's going to have to plead for the life of these children. These are the I love pro-life clinics. We have pro-life clinics, and they're wonderful, and I love the work that they do. But when the moms and dads are coming to the abortion clinic, they either have not heard of the pro-life clinics, which is very possible, or they've just chosen not to go there, and they are choosing now to come to a clinic that's going to kill their child. So this is the last line of defense. Now we offer, of course, the services of these pro-life clinics is we'll take people to these pro-life clinics. But right now, as the mom and dads are coming to the clinic, to these abortion clinics, this is the last line of defense. This is the last opportunity to plead for the life of that child. It's the last opportunity to preach the gospel to these workers and to these parents, to these moms and dads. This is the last opportunity to offer help to these moms. So the clinics are the last line of defense. So just a little bit about my experience doing this. I've been doing it since 2015. So as the time of this recording, it's the end of 2022. So I've been doing this at the time of this recording for 7 years now. I first went outside of the clinic in December 2015. Was my first time that I went out. That experience made me realize, hey, I should probably go and learn from some people who have been doing this for a while. So that's what I did. I went, I learned, I observed and shadowed and learned from those who had been involved in this ministry for a while prior to 2015. And then I just started to consistently go back out to my local clinic and do ministry there. So I'm currently at the abortion mills 3 to 4 days a week. Right now because one of the mills is that I go to on Sunday, they've been closed on Sundays. That's neither here nor there. Just to say right now it's 3 days a week. But when that changes, it's 3 to 4 days a week, and usually for about 2 to 3 hours at a time. And on top of that, I work a full-time job. So I'm working a full-time job, taking care of my family, paying the bills. But the goal of fundraising is to make being a missionary to Arizona to make being a missionary to Arizona doable, to allow me to be a missionary to Arizona as my full-time job, and again, primarily to the abortion clinics. So I always like to emphasize this point that my primary concern is faithfulness to God and not results. So when I go to the clinics, my primary concern is, God, I want to be faithful to you and what you've called me to do. I want to be faithful to you and how you've called me to do it. I want to be faithful to you and what your word says about this ministry and about how I'm going to do it, how I'm supposed to go about doing it. That's my primary concern. But God does move powerfully in His grace and saves babies through ministries of going to the clinic and pleading for the lives of these children. God moves and saves babies. And this is a picture actually of a fairly recent save a couple months ago. This is her 15-week-old son. Right there, that's a picture of him. And she chose life for her baby because God's people were faithful in going to these clinics, pleading for the lives of children. So looking at the ministries of the Coastal Nation that have full-time missionaries to the unborn, we see that God tends to bless faithful full-time ministries with increased baby saves. And God tends to give these missionaries more opportunities to be a blessing to the surrounding community at large. So one of the big advantages of being full-time at these clinics, full-time from when the doors open to when the door closes, is that God just, from what we see and these are I've got two examples here, but there are so many more examples of how God moves in these full-time ministries. And God just tends to, of course not, God's not obligated to, of course not. Don't hear what I'm not saying. God's not obligated to bless these ministries. But man, when you have a full-time missionary, God just tends to really bless those ministries, and you see increased baby saves. John Barros over in Florida, man, God just, through his ministry, God just saves babies, just hand over fist, saving babies to that ministry. Same with Scott Horde, and he's also given Scott Horde such a wonderful opportunity to bless the community at large as well. Just from his work at the ministry, from the interactions that come from the community through his presence at the clinics, gives him this opportunity to just bless the community at large. So neither one of these ministries endorse me or anything like that. I'm putting him here only as examples of what God tends to do through ministries that have full-time missionaries that do this work. So going full-time allows me to be at the clinics from open to close. So I would be focusing primarily, my focus would be at a clinic called Camelback Family Planning, because of the 13,000 abortions on average that Arizona does, Camelback Family Planning does 3,000 of those abortions on average a year, which means that Camelback Family Planning as an individual clinic by far does the most baby killing in the state as an individual clinic. So that's they do 3,000. They average 3,000 babies that they murder every year, which is roughly 23% of the overall murders that happen in Arizona. The murder of these babies that happens in Arizona. So now, if you combine all of the Planned Parenthood clinics and the amount of abortions they do, they would, of course, beat Camelback Family Planning. But Camelback Family Planning as an individual clinic, by far, compared to all the other clinics, does the most abortions. So this allows me to be, so that would be where I primarily be focused, is being there from open to close, from the doors open to when the doors close. It allows me to become more heavily involved as well in working toward encouraging local and state governing bodies to pass and enforce laws of equal protection. So I'm very involved right now because I live in Glendale, Arizona. So I'm very involved with the city council in Glendale, and have actually been making progress working with the council there to take steps to Glendale becoming a sanctuary city for the unborn. Now we're just barely at square one with that. It's been a long process, but I am involved. I'm involved on a very local level in my community, just working to from the end of the magistrate to protect these babies. I've also been involved with the Phoenix City Council as well, mainly to them just as a prophetic voice. But it allows me to be more involved in that. Allows me to devote more time also in other evangelistic opportunities, such as First Fridays, which if you're not here locally in the Phoenix metro area, First Fridays is just an event that happens every first Friday of the month, and it's just a huge event that it draws. There's music, there's venues, there's all kinds of things that happen, but it just draws huge crowds, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to do evangelism. But events like First Friday, university campuses, strip clubs, sporting events, etc., pretty much just any other evangelistic opportunity that presents itself. So I would be the only one in Arizona doing this ministry full time. Let me be clear. There are people in Arizona who do full-time pro-life ministry. So don't hear what I'm not saying. I would not be the only one doing pro-life ministry, but I would be the only one in Arizona who would be in front of a clinic from the time the door opens to the time the door closes. That would be, I would be the first one to be doing that kind of ministry. So that's what you get uniquely from supporting my ministry, as opposed to supporting some of the other pro-life ministries. When again, by all means, I'm not saying don't support other pro-life ministries. I'm just saying that's uniquely what my ministry does uniquely, is have someone outside these clinics, if I can get full time, from the time the doors open to the time the doors close. So this is just kind of like the goals. You starting at the top circle there, going clockwise. Of course, the first goal is to go full time. My primary ministry would be at the abortion mills. I would also be working as a prophetic voice to local and state legislatures. And then once abortion is completely illegal in Arizona, then my wife and I are ready and willing to answer the call of God and pack up and go to a different state where abortion is still happening, and then continue the work there full time in front of these abortion clinics. So when you partner with me by donating, you stand with me. You're there pleading with me. You're there pleading for the lives of babies. You're there preaching the gospel, whatever venue it might be in, at the clinics, at the university, or whatever event it might be. You're there with me being a prophetic voice to the magistrate. So that's what partnering with me financially does, is you stand with me in doing this work. So what I want you to ask you to do is to prayerfully consider whether God is calling you to partner with me financially. The bread and butter of what makes this possible is monthly donations, ongoing monthly donations. But perhaps maybe God's calling you to be a yearly donator, to be someone who donates every year, or even just one-time donations. All of those things God uses to work toward me becoming a full-time missionary here in Arizona, the Phoenix metro area. So please pray and consider if that's what God is calling you to do. Thank you so much for watching.